don't want to pile on, but I'm left with this judgment in regards to Russell Wilson. Something needs to be said about this and this only. You find out a lot about a player from the players who played with that player. When you hear former teammates like Doug Baldwin, when you hear former teammates like D-Smoke, when you hear former teammates like Richard Sherman, and the list goes on, I never really have heard of a teammate going to bat for Russell Wilson. Ever. D-Smoke, man, he called me from a block number. Respect him. I call people from a block number, but don't nobody really be tripping publicly like that. Always did. Richard Sherman. Well, what's life like after the Legion of Boom? Insert Golden Tate. Insert Doug Baldwin. Where they have a moment where it's like, oh, bro, like, man, something changed with Russ. And I don't know what that is. And it's unfortunate. And do we need to go to Denver to talk about that situation with Sean Payton? And then you see this situation here where it's like, hey, Pittsburgh, is anybody ever going to stand on the table and defend their former players and say, hey man, all that they're saying is nonsense, that's BS. Man, that boy Russell Wilson was the person that doggone would give you the shirt off his back. Man, everything that they said, they just hate on his ass. That's not the case. And for Russell Wilson to be such a liked individual, obviously him and his relationship with his family and his wife and things like that, those are, in some people's eyes, couples goals and things like that. But when you start to question, hey, are you a Hall of Fame player? And what are people really saying about Russell Wilson? It has even the people that's entrenched with the situation that scratch their heads like, hold on, what? Is it real? Is it true? Like, do people like you? Do they like being your teammate? Then you start to see, we ain't never seen the teammates show out for Russell Wilson like they doing for Jackson Dart.
That's true. Because even if you say something wrong, people are like, oh, you ain't gonna speak on my man's like that.
Bro, that's not the case, bro. I don't know what it is. Do I think Russell Wilson is a Hall of Fame player? Yes. Why? Is because when I look at the people that have been inserted into the Hall of Fame, there's one name that sticks out that's incomparable to a Russell Wilson. Steve Young. On paper, Steve Young has three. And as a starter, he only has one Super Bowl. He's in there. They say Eli's going to get in there. And they say, well, Eli got 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, but
that's the only time he made playoffs, right?
No, he made playoffs again, but he hasn't had a lot of sustained success.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's where he had success in playoffs.
Correct. My thing is, are we judging players too much on rings and things rather than their impact to the game? I don't want to pile up on Russ, but there was a time when Russell Wilson was putting and applying a lot of pressure to the NFL because of similarities to Jalen Hurts. All he does is win. His first year in the league, he won. Second year in the league, he went to the Super Bowl and won. Third year in the league, also went back to the Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler, the rest is history. So you're starting your first 3 years. You feel what I'm saying? That's not normal.
You're doing people's career stuff in
your first couple of years.
But it's tough. You can't go nothing but down.
Or should you? Because you get paid like A franchise quarterback is different. And this is the thing, though, Pepe. If I will remind you, he wanted to get out of Seattle.
Yeah.
Because Seattle wasn't willing to pay him what he felt like he deserved. And I don't know if that rubbed people the wrong way, but people in Seattle probably the only reason was, like, we have a lot of support here, bro.
But he did have some winning seasons. Even when the Legion of Boom was
I
falling.
get that, but it was in Seattle, though.
Correct, it was in Seattle.
It was in Seattle. What's my coach name?
Well,
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, yeah.
It was in Seattle where Pete Carroll was the guy. And that was the person who you think Pete Carroll, Russell was, they had that dynamic of the player coach, similar to Belichick and Tom Brady.
Now, that's about enough of that. Is Russell Wilson Hall of Fame? In my opinion, I wouldn't say he's a Hall of Fame career. But based on the status quo they created by putting in people like Troy Aikman and Steve Young and Eli, they talking about Eli's gonna get in. They've blurred the lines. And when you blur the lines because you like people and certain players that are not in the hall who's supposed to be there, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I was upset Sterling Sharp wasn't in the hall because it was like you automatically think people are there because you automatically like, oh wow, I know that person's in the hall. And when you find out they're not in the Hall of Fame, I'm like, wow. When Chris Carter wasn't in the hall for that long period of time, I'm like, wow, Chris Carter's not there. And Moss got in before him. And then he finally got in there. But he was one of the main people, like, kind of downplaying Randy getting in there. It was crazy. They was like, well, Randy turned his career around in the media, but, you know, he wasn't really on the football field. You know, you could say he didn't deserve to be in there. Randy Moss is first ballot Hall of Fame, period. And T.O. said, well, I deserve to be all ballot, first ballot Hall of Fame. But T.O. caused more of a problem and was more problematic than ever Randy Moss could ever be on a team. But what Cam brought up was something very interesting that I think people miss in the whole process of dealing with this subject. Here's what Cam, I think he hit on the head. Russell Wilson doesn't seem like he's liked by his teammates. Normally the quarterback has the control of the team. He has the ear. Yeah, he has their ear. The quarterback does. So when you see this happen this way, you're like, wow, the quarterback's supposed to have his ear. And the receivers, like normally you can hear some defensive players mad at the quarterback. But here you got wide receivers mad at the quarterback. You got the special teams. You got head coaches. You got everybody mad at this quarterback who seems very unbothered. If you look at Russell Wilson, he walks around like his shit don't stink. He got Sierra. He got his bag. Got his money. He walks around like he on cloud nine. And you see how quick the Steelers got away from him. You see how quick Denver got rid of him. You see how quick. Yeah, you see how quick the Giants went to putting in Dart. Dart was always meant to be their future, like next year. He wasn't supposed to start now. But how quick they moved from Russ to Dart was a team decision. We need something to happen now to get the team ready to rally. Because the team is like, Russ got to go. It's the vibe when he's on the field, even with the Giants. It's like they're not with him. A lot of them seem like they're not with him. And watching his game, he's just a deep ball thrower now. Play action deep ball. That's pretty much his game. He could throw a deep ball. But the small game, he can't do it no more. It's like in golf, if you watch somebody drive the ball, but their short game is terrible. That's what cost them, victories in tournaments. That's the missing element in the equation. Do I think a lot about Russ? Not really. Like, should we be hating on a black quarterback who had all this against him? If Malcolm Butler makes that catch and he don't make that catch, right, and they win the Super Bowl against against Tom Brady, everything changes. So you can't do what ifs. That's why you can never do what ifs. It took Tom Brady so long to get back to winning another Super Bowl. Something he never thought would ever be that hard to do, starting his career. But as that journey went on, the pain, the struggle, all of it aligned. Because once Malcolm Butler made that catch, people didn't realize how long it's been since the Patriots had actually won it. They lost 2 Super Bowls in a row to the Giants. They kept losing in the AFC Championship game. They lost 1 terrible game to the Jets. And it just wasn't meant to be. So you start looking at the situations and going, wow, so this is what it's like. So after that year, who knows the change that would have came if Brady didn't win, if Malcolm Butler don't catch that ball. Because the Patriots lose the very next year. So that's a whole nother thing. What they had moved on from Tom Brady with Belichick, what would have happened in that dynamic? with them. Russ, winner of 2 Super Bowls back to back. You know, he would have really got the stigma off his back. He won back-to-back Super Bowls with Seattle. Beast Mode gets a monster contract. Then he's in the line for a contract. And Russ has some good years. But if we go by the standards of today, Russ is in the Hall of Fame because of who they put in there. But what Cam said about him that made the most sense of anything I heard was the fact that he's not a locker room guy. And you can tell that because of his teammates, how they react to him, all the things they're doing, in his presence, in his absence. All of these things are being so documented right now. There were several other people who came out to make some type of like statement. I remember he did that. The hell going on with my security cam? See, that's that bullshit, boy. I tell you. You ain't get nothing right nowadays. Security cameras jacked up. Now, on my main channel, you finna find out why I've been up all night. Some things happen. And I'm gonna fill y'all in. But I wanted to talk about Russ and what happened with Cam and how none of the teammates seem to have his back for anything. Then I gotta fix my security cameras. But I'm not flexing on them. I'm seeing the security camera. I'm like, wait a minute. Security camera is off. I gotta get in there and take care of that. Can't have Gil sneaking up on me. I snuck up on you. Can't have that. No, because of the weather and storms and stuff, it throws off a lot. So people have to, pivot to something else normally. So the Patreon's been updated. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. You get to see the 40th anniversary of The Last Dragon. Yes, sir. That was great. And they made changes to the movie. Not changing the movie, but enhancing certain parts of the movie. When it gets to the scene with the glow, you'll see it. The glow is lit up. And then the blows when they fighting with the glow, it's elevated. So that was something they were able to do with today's technology. Outlaw, when y'all lose tonight to the Cavs, I'm gonna laugh. I bet on the Cavs too. You know I did. But the Bulls and Pistons start the season today. So that's gotta happen. But right before the news hit, right? We got some breaking news. So let me get ready for the breaking news, and I'll hit y'all back in a little bit. I just wanted to go over what Cam said because that was very telling. None of his teammates, nobody rides for Russell Wilson, and that is the truth. I'm like, he's right about that. I've never seen that from any teammate, like with a whole team, the coaches, offense, defense, special teams, they never say something positive about that guy. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yes, sir. So just remember that. Oh no, that's gonna be on Carcino for Life. I'm finna get ready. Yeah, we'll probably do it in about 20 minutes. Yeah, we got some breaking news coming. All right, peace.